Hello, my name is Rebecca Bruner, and I am on the museum board here on the Museum on Main. And today we are interviewing Don and Tom Lane. They are the children of Bob and Pat Lane. And Bob and Pat were both very involved with the museum, Pat being on the board for years, and Bob also being very involved in just being supportive of her and helping do so many things for us. So Pat unfortunately has passed. Bob is now 98
Yes.
and still doing well, but we are interviewing the boys today. So yeah, tell me what the Lanes were like, what it was like.
Everyone was supportive. My mom and dad were really good about being friends to my friends. They were good for chaperoning my friends, and we always felt comfortable around my parents.
I heard that the Lane house was kind of the place to go to.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
A friend of mine in particular, we live on a creek on Amarillo Circle, and one of my friends would always just pass through the house and walk up the creek to go home because it was quicker that way. And he would just walk through the house. And
Chris is here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
He just, yeah. We walked through his yard on the way to Valley View School, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We opened, when Valley View School opened, I was in third grade. We started with that school.
Yeah, I was the first grade there.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we had a very close family, very active. The parents were always doing things, whatever activity we were into.
Chaperoning, going to our games.
Cub
Because it was
Scouts.
just the two of you boys,
Yes.
right?
My mom was a Cub Scout leader. My dad was the head of the whole troop, all the way through. You know, police athletic league baseball, because we didn't have little league then.
Okay.
But yeah, he coached.
But they would chaperone dances. I remember in junior high school they'd be hanging out. It was fine. Nobody minded.
And you didn't mind?
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
No, it's mom and dad. It's normal.
And Don, I think you said you were born in Stockton after they graduated from, they both went to school
Yeah, they
there,
were
right?
finishing
College
up
there.
at College Pacific. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then we came here. We lived on Rose Avenue at first, when I was first born. And then we moved it to Amarillo Circle.
That's when Johnny Amaral was building Amaral Circle and Cottinger Avenue.
Yeah.
Local realtor.
My
developer.
dad bought the house new in 1954. We were the last original owners on the street.
Oh.
Yeah.
And for a short time, they lived on the corner of Cottinger and Amaral Circle while the house was being finished that they were going to move into.
And our grandparents, my mom's mom and dad lived across the street from us on Amarillo Circle when they were in Pleasanton too.
Yeah.
After, they moved in after your parents did?
At the same time.
Oh.
Because they also moved down
My
the
mom's
street.
dad was a dentist across the street here.
Yeah, that's his chair out in the hall.
Yeah, that's his
Okay.
dental chair sitting in,
One of
Okay.
them.
Across the street here, so where
in
you,
Pleasanton.
in the dentist office across the
Yeah,
street,
514
is still a
Main.
dentist?
Yeah, he had the office
Ah.
before these dentists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
But Pat didn't live in Pleasanton at that time when he had the dentist office, right?
Yeah, he did. She did. Because he
Yeah.
was there in the late
That was
50s.
in the 50s. Yeah,
Oh,
we moved
okay,
here in
so after
52.
you moved here, he moved to his dentist office.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly of the dates, but it was about,
But about
the same
that
time.
time.
Yeah.
And he practiced on Main Street until he passed.
Never did ask Dad how he liked his in-laws living across the street.
Yeah,
Maybe I will.
I think, knowing your dad, I bet he didn't mind.
Yeah, he would go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So your parents were involved in everything that you guys were involved with. But then after you left, what did they, well, even during your time, wait.
Well,
there
they
was-
needed to fill the great void of when we left.
No, I'm joking. But no, but they came very active in the city
Yeah.
with downtown. And well, my mom was there for starting the farmers market and concerts in the
Well,
park.
I believe she was the first director of the Pleasanton Downtown Association.
Yes.
And in that job, which she held she worked here, correct?
Yeah, right, in the front office.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
in
her
the front-
office was
A
a
little corner
of
there,
that.
yeah. And then she began the concerts in the park and the farmer's market,
And then
right?
redoing Main Street.
And a
too.
bunch of
Oh.
parades.
A bunch of,
parades.
oh, okay.
And she eventually became the head of the California Downtown
President
Association.
for her year of term.
Oh,
Not just Pleasanton, but
The whole
Yeah.
state.
yeah.
yeah.
So we have a lot of stuff around the house from all the conferences she
Yes.
went to at different
Posters and
downtown
t-shirts.
associations
Yeah.
in California.
And when she became the head of the Downtown Association here, she'd not had any experience with that, right?
Not like that.
She
Yeah.
was more. She did a lot of publicity, and she wrote for the newspapers here. She wrote for the Independent for a long time. Then she moved on to whatever the Herald
Herald.
was eventually called. I know it went through
New York
iterations.
Times,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was journalism all the way through high school, college, and a little bit of the Pleasanton Times in the early 60s. And then when the Independent started, she called over looking to see if she could write with them. And nothing really happened at first. And then they ran an ad in the want ads saying, whoever it was that called the Independent for a job, call us back. And that was Mom. So she called them back. And then she started writing for the paper up, all through the 60s and 70s.
It was good for the paper. I think she was the only conservative on the whole staff there.
Oh.
And so she wrote, scouting news, weddings, travel
All the
column,
second section
all those
stuff.
other stuff that,
Yeah.
In her famous 4 lanes to travel column that ran every week.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a long column, 2 columns wide. Yeah, for travels and all the things that we did, because we traveled together all the time. My dad was a school teacher, so we always had vacations at the same time. Easter vacations, Christmas vacations, summer
Of course.
vacations.
So where would you go?
Well,
Canada.
we went to Canada a couple of times. Easter vacation, we always went to Arizona, and for a week. We started going to Hawaii in 1967, and they went
Glad
every
you
year
remember.
ever since. Kona was my mom's home away from home.
Oh.
They spent a month there every year. They knew people. And
When she wasn't in the office here and you didn't see her?
she was
that's
over
where
there.
That's where she
Yeah,
was.
she befriended everyone at the hotel, and one of the staff got married once, invited Mom, and she flew over with her mother, and they went to the wedding just because it was them in Kona.
But your mom was like that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. She was very friendly and
Inclusive.
accepting and
Oh, yeah.
inclusive. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good word for
Yeah.
her. And Dad too.
Yeah, they were a team.
He was very supportive. All that writing my mom did for newspapers, it all had to be typed to be turned in.
That's right.
And my dad typed everything my mom
She
ever
couldn't
wrote.
type.
Oh.
She'd write it out, and
And
Dad would come home
my-
from school after teaching all day, and he'd type it out for her.
He'd type all her
And then
words
she
for
could
her.
turn it in for the copy in to get it printed.
Well, and didn't they write 2 books?
Yeah, they did. They're right there.
Okay, and we'll get a picture of them later, but how did that come to be, that they would write these books
Well,
about Pleasanton?
My dad retired.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of photographs of things, and he started putting those all together. And so he made the book of the fair and
The valley.
And the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty much. I think he was having withdrawals from not doing the yearbook.
Because was
he
he
would-
an English teacher?
Yeah,
Yes.
he did
Okay.
English yearbook newspaper.
Yeah, he did it
And-
all, every year.
Okay.
And so he didn't have the yearbook to do it. I'm making this up.
Well,
He didn't have the yearbook to do anymore, so he did a couple of picture books.
And he would do it on his computer at home, because he was used to doing publishing like that. And he'd just lay it out page by page by page. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
And that they would do that for the community.
Yeah, and during that time, he was also doing all the publicity for the fair. That was
Was that a paid job?
yes.
For the fair,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Which was nice, because he could get us in, too.
Oh, yeah.
Free rides on the rotor.
Yeah, right, yeah. Plus the free passes from the Independent, too. We
Yeah.
never had to pay to get in the fair.
Well, you guys were spoiled.
And that way,
Well, we also
nice.
worked the JC parking lot.
yeah,
every
we had
year.
jobs. It's one of those college jobs. Everybody gets a job at the fair during the summer.
Yes.
Oh, those are high school jobs for me.
Yeah, we did that. Too. Yeah, high school and college. Yeah, until I graduated and then got a real job.
Yeah.
That horse.
That was from Christensen.
I used to buy my Converse All-Stars there every year. We got one pair a year.
My PE clothes for Amador.
Yeah, my block sweater
Yeah.
came from Christensen's too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No.
I digress.
So they were just mentioning about our horse that we have here that we got from Christensen's.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's always up.
Gus, I think, isn't it? And
Nice
yeah.
to see it came in.
It's nice to see, yeah, that they did something with it. You know, we were pleased to get it from them. Yeah, things change, and it's too bad when that store closed. Wasn't that over? Hadn't it been open like almost 100 years or
Yeah,
something?
something like that.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time. Yeah.
I had belts made there, in their leather
Leather
shop.
work,
Yeah.
shoes all the way through school, you know, from when kindergarten all the way up.
It was right next to the theater.
Oh. Yeah, there was a theater next door.
And then it was
Yeah.
Daughtry's department store.
Okay.
Was that ever Slatton's?
Yeah, it was Sletton's before that.
Yeah, I'm
Sletton's.
sorry. This isn't about mom. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, our roots in Pleasanton go back.
Well, so the downtown was very different at one time.
Yes.
And then, you know, other businesses and stuff have come in and all that. There have been changes. But do you like the changes that have happened downtown?
When we refer to something, or when Mom would refer to something downtown, I'd say, what did it used to be?
Oh.
Yeah, that was Jorgensen's. That's where the bus station was. That's where Ernest Schwain's house was, which was then an Exxon station. You know, and then the banks. You know, now they're restaurants. Or the U.S. Bank used to be a Safeway. You know, things like that. And all the gas stations on Main Street have disappeared except for Ernie's Shell, which
Yeah.
isn't a Shell anymore. What is it now? It's another Shell.
I still call it Ernie's.
Yeah, we call it Ernie's Shell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still like, so when Mom would talk about things.
I'll be diplomatic and not comment on what the Pleasanton's like now.
Okay.
But you can see I moved.
It's
Yeah.
changed so much.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that we've left Pleasanton, but Pleasanton left us. And what we grew up to has just expanded so wide. At one time, Amador was on the other side of the tracks. That was it. The
Yeah.
Jensen tract hadn't even been built yet. You
Those
go out
were
to
sugar beet fields.
yeah, and then hop yard. They used to grow hops out there. That was for beer. And it
Yeah.
would flood every winter.
So it's grown a lot,
A
you know,
lot,
which
a
is,
lot.
yeah.
And there's stoplights everywhere now.
There's a
Yeah.
very good tax base here now, though. The
Yeah.
schools are good.
So we've seen the change.
Yeah. You liked the small town where everybody knew everybody.
They did.
Yeah.
Which was neat. We're going through the Amador displays over there, and some of the older stuff, like from the 60s or early 1970 when I graduated, it's like, oh yeah, I remember these people. That looks familiar. Yeah. But that's the way it grows. Pleasanton was always the city of planned progress, and it has. It's just grown.
And being at a crossroads like we are with 580 and 680, it's, you know, prime, you know, when Bart and the,
Wasn't that 50 and Foothill Road?
Yeah,
that's the
at one
old,
time.
the old ones.
Before 580.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
680
remember
didn't exist.
When there were no overpasses over the freeway, you went out Santa Rita or Hop Yard, and you had to look both ways before you went over to Dublin side because there was no overpass.
I remember being the day before they opened 680.
Yeah.
We got to ride our bicycles from where it used to be Kaiser Center for Technology over here. We got on the freeway and then rode up. to
Oh.
Past the fairgrounds.
Past the fairgrounds, yeah.
And so a lot of people did that.
Oh,
yeah.
It was kind of a,
All the kids got to ride their bike on the freeway before they opened it.
yeah, kind of exciting
It was fun.
thing to remember.
That's where we learned to drive the freeway there in driver's ed. Back when Amador offered driver's ed to everybody. That's where we learned to drive the freeway. It was in 680.
So, yeah. So back to mom.
Yes, anyway. There's just so much from our past.
Well, yeah, and that's part of, you know, that they were raising you in a smaller town and a community that was
Tight-knit.
more tight-knit, more inclusive. And
Yeah.
also, from what I understand, most of the people who were moving into town tended to be more young people with families. So there were a lot of
Okay.
children,
that
a
way.
lot of young families.
Yeah, there were a lot of kids from Pleasanton Valley in my high school class.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, when I went to Amador, they still were bringing people over from Dublin.
okay.
Yeah, my junior and senior year.
And then they stopped after
Yeah,
your
that's when
senior...
Dublin High School opened. Yeah.
After your senior year here.
Then the juniors, freshmen, sophomore over there became juniors and seniors, but they weren't coming over here.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what year did you graduate?
1970.
Okay.
I put my name up on the wall too.
That,
Good.
that was before Foothill High School and before
Yeah.
Yeah.
California High and probably maybe Monte Vista.
All the high schools that have grown up in the hills, which used to be just rural.
Yeah. Well, how do you think Pleasanton looks compared to Dublin.
Oh, geez.
Much
It's a
nicer.
town. It's a real town.
Yeah.
It's a downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't go downtown in Dublin.
There isn't one.
Yeah.
It's just sprawl, and all the hills are getting paved over. It's sad. I think it's sad. I used to go for bike rides out there,
oh,
and you can't do it anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the nice thing about Pleasanton, at least, the people that were here before kept the downtown.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's very nice.
A lot of the
It's-
old
it-
buildings,
Yeah.
all of that.
It,
Yeah.
It's nice that there's some preservation of ag land near Pleasanton too, so
Yeah.
it won't be totally developed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was a big deal. Like, there were propositions on the ballot way back in the 70s about growth and paving and developing the hills, and all those, they all failed. Nobody wanted growth out in those areas.
Well, Pleasanton went for it with all,
In that direction.
by the freeway.
Yeah, but not up Foothill Road.
but
Some of
Livermore
it-
didn't,
A lot of that
and
was
then
restricted.
Livermore suffered because they didn't have the tax base.
Right, right.
The lab, that's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, well, anyway, geez.
And Livermore has changed a lot
Yeah,
now,
now it
too.
has.
The whole valley
Yeah,
has.
the whole valley has, yeah. But,
and if you need to go down shopping center, just go over to Dublin.
Yeah, we used to have to go to Hayward or Oakland or Walnut Creek if we wanted to go to a bigger store.
yeah, yeah.
It was always downtown, but if you wanted to go like to Smith's or
Southland
Macy's
Mall,
or,
yeah.
the Southland Mall in Hayward, yeah. It was a small town, but
Anyway.
we didn't like, but we liked it. That was our town.
So Mom kept busy the whole time. When we left, she
She always
She
had,
wrote for newspapers. She
Yeah.
was doing all the downtown stuff. They were
Yeah.
traveling for that.
yes,
Um,
her column.
To conferences and stuff?
Yeah, all the conferences and all the posters, every year, and she was all part of that. And that's how she became president, because she was all part of the administration.
And she, I think, really loved Pleasanton even with his changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe in spite of his changes, because they always seemed to love Pleasanton.
in a good way, I call him a homer. I moved back to the valley after a couple decades to make wine at Kincannon, and I moved to Livermore.
Yeah.
And that caused a huge rift in the family because I didn't move back to Pleasanton.
Amador and Livermore is a huge rivalry. That
And
was
then-
the rivalry
Yeah.
in football.
And then my oldest daughter went to Granada High, and that
We won
wasn't
this year.
okay.
We beat Granada this year too. We won both of those games.
But anyway,
Yeah. It's,
How could you do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
One of my best friends from high school lives in Livermore, and I accept that. But it's-
Steve?
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
But it's not. But it's Livermore.
Yeah.
And there's always that part of me that's the rival, because Amador, Livermore.
Yeah.
Because we were small towns, and that was a big deal.
yeah, Granada was
And because you
never-
live in Fremont.
I do now. Yeah. Yeah. when
But
I
it
got-
wasn't like the Livermore
No.
rivalry. So.
No, that's a different league. That's
Yeah.
over there.
No, he didn't get the grief I did.
From mom or dad? or-
Mom, definitely mom.
Yeah.
But she wrote for the Independent.
Yes, right.
And I kept pointing out to her I live on this side of Livermore, and it's closer than if I'd lived on Foothill Road. Just go down Vineyard Avenue, and you're at my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that didn't make it.
That didn't play.
Yeah, yeah. But Dad taught at Amador,
Yes.
and for how many years did he teach there?
4 up through the 54, 55, 56, 57 or so. And then he went to Sunnyvale. When I got into school in kindergarten, he said he wanted to get out of the area because he didn't want that conflict. You have a teacher and me in the same city. And he got a job in Sunnyvale. And to drive down there in those days was nothing. There was
Yeah.
no
It was
traffic, no
37 minutes.
yeah, just all the roads
Okay.
were rural, and it was easy to get there. Not anymore, but yeah. And so yeah, he
get
taught at
back from
Amador.
Sunnyvale.
He started, I think, the first year or two he was at Pleasanton Elementary School,
Okay.
and then he went to Amador for 4 years. And we have some of the yearbooks from those years.
I think I think Joni Fields knew him as a teacher.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And there were people.
I don't think she had him though.
Yeah, some of the teachers I had were early in their career when Dad was there. Because
Yeah, but he taught in the main building at
the
Amador.
good old original building.
Before it was just the theater.
Okay. And then he went to Sunnyvale,
Sunnyvale
and that's
High
where he retired from?
pretty
Until
much.
they closed it.
Oh, okay.
Then he went to
They
Cupertino.
needed to close a high school in that area, and I have reasons. But he ended up at
Cupertino.
Cupertino High
And then he went into
for a
counseling.
couple years.
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
counseling?
He
at
counseled
Cupertino?
at Sunnyvale.
Oh, at Sunnyvale.
Yeah, he
okay.
started there.
Until Proposition 13 went through and they didn't think that counselors were needed for high school kids anymore. So he had to go back because they got rid of the counselors. And
Prop 13 had something to do with counselors?
I believe it had to do with
Tax
property
base.
taxes
What was the
and
tax?
tax
Yeah,
base. And
yes.
then the funding for counselors went away.
Oh, yeah, because I only knew it as a tax-based thing, but I know that,
Well, what were the taxes going for?
yeah, so
Yeah,
the
so Howard
counselors
Jarvis
got
fired
cut.
my dad from being a counselor, if I want to draw the line. But yeah, but then he had to teach intro math to people who didn't know math, and he was an English teacher, and they put all his hardcore counselees in his math class. So he was still counseling,
Yes,
but being
a math teacher.
anyway.
Okay,
We digress.
yeah,
I do that a lot.
That's fine.
yeah.
The backstories.
Yeah.
But interesting, yeah, and that, and so that's where he retired from.
Yeah, I know.
You
Because I
retired
didn't
from
know your
Cupertino.
dad until he was retired.
Yeah. In Cupertino, he retired
Yeah.
when he could. I mean, his
He was
speech,
awesome, yeah.
that was his retirement thing, that was at HAPS, wasn't
Probably.
it? Yeah.
I grew up in
I
House.
remember one thing he said was, commuted all those years and I never had an accident.
That's right.
Oh.
The last day he pulled into the driveway, he said, made it.
Oh. That is something.
Yeah, because it got worse over the years.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I know then he would go to the farmer's market with your mom on,
Every day.
Very supportive.
yeah,
day,
on
yeah.
Saturdays, and
Yeah.
you know, like I said, with museum things, he was always here too. I know they were good supporters, and
He did a lot of photographs for different groups that Mom was working for,
okay, so he was really into photography.
Yes.
very much
Got
so.
us into it too.
Oh,
He actually
okay.
did a couple of weddings.
Yeah, we did weddings.
Because he's a yearbook newspaper,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
he
You know,
he
like-
could do that
Like
easily.
one of the band directors from Amador, we did their wedding pictures. Yeah. We were just talking about that today. Yeah.
And then you followed your grandfather into dentistry.
Yes, I did. It was always in the back of my head. I was a biology major in school, and I went to San Jose State, and I really didn't know what I was going to do after I graduated, but it was always in the back of my head. Like,
Mom
maybe I
really
can do
wanted
this.
one of us to be a dentist because her dad was a dentist.
She was
Yeah.
very proud of that.
Yeah,
And she was
and with my science
of
thing, I
hits.
thought, let's just give it a try. If I get in, I'll do it. And I did, so here I am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he won't retire.
One
I
more year.
retired several years ago,
One more
but he's
year.
still
One
working.
more year. One more year.
Well, and you didn't follow your parents into their businesses, but
No.
you supplied them with their
With social
fun
lubrication.
because yes, they loved the wine,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yeah.
They loved wine.
Actually, I think I did a wine event for the museum.
You did one of our wine and Valentine events
Right.
at the Pleasanton Hotel.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did one up at Castlewood too. Is that through you guys?
Okay. Yeah. Then it might have been at Castle. I thought
Well,
you had
I
done-
did one at the hotel too.
And then you did one at, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they were both for
On
us.
cruise
Yeah.
ships and
Yeah.
others.
And your mom would always say, oh yeah, Tom will get us wine.
Yeah, Mom would organize cruises.
They got a lot of wine, more than anyone. I don't drink that much, but boy, I'd get a case at work.
They could always use it, yes.
And Dad only drank white wine, and Mom only drank red wine.
Oh,
Yeah, Dad
so they
couldn't-
didn't fight then?
Yeah. The red wine didn't agree with him, but Mom loved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
And
man,
they're
yeah.
both-
So they did. When Don and I were coming over, we were always talking. They always were together. They always were very supportive. Did things together. And when my dad would get home from work, it was cocktail hour.
Yes, every night.
okay.
Yeah, bourbon and soda.
Bourbon and Calso.
Bourbon and Calso.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember Calso water. It was. It's a.
There's a tonic.
Oh
Soda.
yeah, it's one of those very salty mineral waters. I think they took it off the market. It might have had some heavy metals in it.
Well, and that's what people used to do, was to drink mixed drinks more
Right.
and then here in California,
And then-
now we've gotten into the
And then
wine.
when we came of
Or
age,
craft
then,
beer, yeah.
then it moved to, well, Yeah, there were
Cheap beer,
the
you
beer
guys were.
instruments too.
Yeah, we've always
Old
drank
English
beer.
800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are a lot of
Both
Other
of,
stories we
both of the
shouldn't
parents
talk about.
are big 49ers fans too. Both
Oh,
my mom
okay.
and my dad. And my mom, one of my mom's favorite mugs was always her 49er mug. She had that until the day she died. She kept drinking from it, always. And
it's very faded now.
Yeah, but my dad went to 49ers games at Kezar back in the 50s, and he raised us right. So, yeah, I had season tickets for many years, and yeah, we still follow the team. There's a game tonight in about an hour.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, my brother-in-law lives in Livermore. He invited me over.
Yeah.
I'm not as big a football fan as there, but
Yeah.
it was interesting that we were always 49er fans too, because as kids we worked at the fair. We did something,
Yeah.
and I always did the Raider booth. And so there was Raiders. There were Raiders there: Hewitt Dixon, Ben Davidson, Darryl and Monica. That group
That
of
grew through
Raiders.
the 60s.
And they were there, and they had pictures, and they'd sign it, and I'd help them hand them out. And I don't know why I never got an affinity for that.
Yeah, and when we were at
It
Amador,
is strange, yeah.
we used to march halftime shows for the Raiders when we were at Amador Band.
We were the
Really?
the
Yes.
only high school band that marched at Raider games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That band
that
was
would be fun.
We were
that
good.
band was a really good
hot
organ. Jim Campana did such a great job.
Yes, that's what I've heard now.
I was
What,
president of the band, by the way, my senior year.
what instrument did you play?
I had 3 valve brass instruments. I played baritone and valve trombone.
Okay. And you?
I played drums, and you have a display out there for Dave Garibaldi, Dave and Rick, his brother, and Teddy. All 4 of us played drums together,
Okay.
and that's where we all grew up in Pleasanton, was playing drums.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I took lessons from Dave too.
He told me I couldn't play drums.
Well, yeah.
So I played brass instruments.
You were better at blowing instruments.
I would
anyway.
have I'd have
do-
rather played drums.
I
Or you
was-
wasn't going to let
I
me
was more of a
beat me up
rhythmist.
if I played drums.
I couldn't play instruments. I just
Sibling
couldn't do it.
rivalry.
Little brother,
Yeah.
Okay, I won't play.
But you were
drums.
very good at it. No, but yeah, I still like playing drums. I still do at home. So.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Play with, yeah.
So Dave Garibaldi graduated with you, or around the same time?
Dave was 64, and then Rick, his brother, was 67. He was the senior when I was my freshman year. And so I know, but we all knew each other.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Dave when he was with Tower Power. I'd go over to see him in the city, or when he was playing other clubs. And we always said hi. Or when Tower Power would play at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, and in '72 they played in the gym at Chico State, and I was
gotta
bragging to my friends, oh, I know Dave Garibaldi, Yeah. I go, okay, well then introduce him to us. I'm
All right.
going, I don't even know if Dave remembers me. I'm a little,
He would. He would.
And so I go to the edge of the backstage and say, can I talk to Dave Garibaldi with all my friends behind me? And we're just going like this. Dave comes out, Tommy Lane, little Tommy Lane.
I was over at the Fillmore in the city one night, and Dave, I was just looking at posters.
At least he embarrassed me.
And Dave walks out and says, Don? I go, yeah, Dave, I come to see you guys tonight. Yeah.
Well, so you had that, yes. I mean, have someone in the Tower of Power, because that was a big band out here.
They still are.
Yeah, I've seen him 5 times. I think,
Yeah.
live.
Okay.
Many times, yeah.
But then you guys got to play at Oakland Raiders games.
Yes, halftime.
And how come Amador was the only band that got to do that?
I believe it's because of the way we played. We weren't a line-up military style march down a street kind of parade, but we did a lot of geometric patterns.
And
we would
most
break
bands weren't doing that at that
No, most
time?
didn't do it. Most of them had tall shaker hats and were...
They walked second out. They played more like concert music, and it wasn't really exciting.
Yeah.
We played upbeat music. We were marching and doing patterns
And
on
then
the
doing
field.
patterns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was Jim Campana's thing. He
Okay.
had adopted that, I think, from the University of Houston.
I thought it was Michigan.
I thought it was Houston.
Well, it was one of the two schools.
Probably Michigan. I'm from the Midwest.
No.
Michigan.
I'm sorry. I went to Ohio State for 3.5 years.
So,
The Ohio State.
but how about, did you have, and then you guys have a real affinity for the 49ers.
Yeah, and the Raiders.
How about baseball?
Of-
Your
I-
parents weren't into baseball as much?
No, I was a Giants fan. He was a
Somewhat.
Dodger fan.
Yeah, growing up I was Dodgers, and then the A's moved here. I rooted for the A's.
We played one-on-one wiffle ball quite a lot when we were growing up, and he was the Dodgers, I was the Giants. And as we did the lineups, we had to become that player when they came to a bat. So if it was a left-handed batter, we'd bat left-handed, right-handed, right. If he pitched Sandy Koufax, he had to pitch left-handed. If he pitched Don Drysdale, he pitched right-handed.
Yeah.
And if I pitched Juan Marichal, I had to do the high leg kick.
Yeah, those were the times. And we played in our front yard.
This isn't about mom, though.
I know. And the
But
front
still,
yard was
it's
all
fun.
worn out where the bases were because all the grass was killed and all that.
I don't think your parents minded.
They didn't mind
No,
a bit.
we ruined the lamp post that was next to
Yeah,
the driveway.
you know, they supported it, as long as it wasn't bad, it was
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. And didn't your grandma then move into your home?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it the grandma from across the street?
Yeah.
Yes.
But she had lived on St. Mary before she moved up.
Yeah, she got to the point, they put an upstairs up for her, second floor, 71. And she moved up there.
She was very active here too, in Seroptimist
Yeah.
and a couple of
BPW, Business of Professional.
Yeah, BPW, Seroptimist.
Now what was her last name?
Ruth Thomas.
Thomas, Dr. Thomas, Sally Thomas,
Okay.
and Dennis, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that whole family was active in things.
Yeah. So Pat kind of learned it from her
I'm
parents.
guessing.
It was
Yeah.
kind of a thing that,
Be part of the community.
yeah.
Yeah, there was one of Mom's friends who used to refer to her as Mrs. Pleasanton because she was so active and so supportive of the city and such a part of everything that she was dubbed Mrs. Pleasanton by some of her other people around town.
Yeah. Yeah, she really was. I mean, she really was that kind of a person who gathered other people together and got things done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was good at organizing. You know,
Yeah.
like when they rehabbed Main Street, she called them the bulb outs, when they changed the sidewalks and
Yeah.
repaved everything. Had to organize, and she knew all the people in the city, the administrators, the people that would, street crews, and getting the permits or for parades. She knew all these administrators. She knew all the city council people, all the people that ever ran for mayor. She was friends with everybody, everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
She knew everybody in town, and then she'd talk about all these people. And I go, Mom, you know everybody.
This is what you're talking about.
Yeah, this was the award they gave her when. This is her memorial paver from when they redid Main Street, and they gave her this award for being the city and
Pat's
making it
Place.
happen.
Oh,
Yeah. And they had a big deal for her out at Heritage House, and they awarded this to her. Yeah, that was early '95.
Yeah, I'm sure you see her name on a brick out here in the front of the building.
Yeah, we have a brick out there.
yeah.
You know that this building's been through a lot of.
Changes.
Yeah.
It was a police station.
Yeah,
at the
one of
time.
our birthdays, I think it was mine.
It
one of
was
my-
one of our birthdays.
They brought our whole party down here. We all got booked.
Oh,
And my
With
dad was
pictures and everything, because Dad was a reserve policeman.
Yeah, some of his stuff is here, the police stuff.
that's what I understand, yeah.
And
And
but that's
so-
how small the town was.
Yeah,
And the
that they
poli-
would do that with you and
This was
have
the
fun
police
with you.
station. Yeah, we could do that.
And Don got to spend some time in the jail here one time with a friend of his, and Dad had to come bail him out.
Curfew?
No, a friend of mine on Emerald Circle.
Yeah, it was his friend who did. Yeah.
No, this is the backstory. No, he was a little bit wild driving and a little bit loud, and there was a policeman
A
down the
little.
street from us who he didn't like it.
Kindly to them.
Yeah, and so one morning, the two of us were heading out to do because I worked for the Independent too. I was delivering papers. We were heading out to get the papers one morning, and the police car didn't, we were speeding a little bit, maybe a little bit over, and he pulled us over. And rather than just give us a ticket, he frisked us, threw us in the car, brought us down, threw us in the holding cell, called my dad, had to come down and get us. I was late doing my papers that day too.
That's one of those things where you get my dad's worst.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed in you.
But then
That was his worst, was I'm really disappointed in you.
It hurt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was life changing. It really was. And then I had to take the driver's test or the driver's school thing at Amador. And then Joe Rose, which was one of the policemen here, he led the class. And he
Senior.
said, yeah, senior.
Joe Rose Senior.
Joe Rose Jr. was in my class. He's
Okay.
passed away too. But anyway, the one thing he stuck with me was, there's no excuse for speeding. No excuse. You know you're speeding. There's no excuse. And so then I bought a Volkswagen. and I haven't been able to speed since. That's a true story. That summer I bought my first bug.
And you've never gotten picked up for speeding?
I've never got another
Since
ticket. No, never.
Carl,
I don't have to look in the mirror anymore.
Carl picked.
So did you get put in the holding cells back
Yes,
here?
yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for about half an hour or whatever it was.
Until Dad came.
Yeah, until Dad came down.
No, I-
And Dad, it's just, okay, Dad, I know, I got the message. You don't have to say a word.
I was walking home from Amador once. I must have been a freshman. And Carl, the friend, unnamed friend,
It's Carl.
who sped a lot.
Yeah, he was crazy.
Says, "Hey Tom, you want to ride home?" Sure, okay. So he picks me up. And he had a Dodge Dart that he'd turn off and on to get it to backfire.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he'd be driving down Main Street and do purposeful backfires. That may be by the policeman didn't like him too. But instead of driving me home, he took me out. We went out to the
Where?
Vineyard, where everybody's
Cornell?
buried out here.
Oh,
the old one.
Yeah, graveyard.
Yeah,
Cemetery.
and he opens the back
Cemetery.
trunk and there's a whole
Oh, God, that's right.
bunch of beer in there.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to keep a cooler of beer in his trunk. Yeah.
I was, 13.
Yeah, we were in high school. But anyway, enough about Carl.
maybe we should interview Carl. No,
Carl's no longer with us.
okay, it's probably best.
Anyway,
That family's pretty much gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
but,
so Mom and Dad also, as we went on in life, I went away to college, and for a master's degree I was in Kansas State.
Yeah.
And they drove out, and 'cause I was doing botany and doing field trips all over the Great Plains and Rocky Mountains, and they'd come out and travel with me and camp
Yeah, we did that
for a
one
week
summer.
at a time.
Well, how about when you did your
Very nice.
your master's thesis and Dad typed it?
Yeah.
oh,
He typed it out. Dad would also type my term papers because they'd be like 20 pages of typewritten for like when I was in school, and it would take me hours to type that much.
Yeah.
Because if you make a mistake, you got to
He'd just
erase
get
it.
frustrated
oh,
with
was a
it.
yeah,
typewriter.
with the old typewriters,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he would just go. Zzz, I just dictate it to him, and he would type it up. We had it done in an hour or so. I'm like, Dad, thanks. Because he
And
was
he
the
probably
typist.
corrected the grammar. as
Yeah,
he
yeah,
went
and then we
along.
could, spelling or any sentence structure.
Yeah.
If anything wasn't quite right, we could
Yeah.
edit it right there.
Yeah.
I inherited the ability of not being able to spell from my mother, so it was good we had our father.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Dad was good about that.
okay.
Very patient. Very patient.
So Mom and Dad would, hike up to high peaks in the Rocky Mountains with me to collect mertensia or scutellaria.
And then we had wine in the car. And one of my favorite pictures of Mom is when we were camping. He had the camp stove set on the back of his truck. And here we were, getting ready, and my mom's got a bottle of wine, and she's going, and I got a picture of it. And she was just enjoying life,
Yeah.
and chugging like in a
I
bottle of wine.
didn't take the crystal with me. We had the Sierra cups.
Yeah, so you just,
So, yeah, just using the bottles
yeah,
works.
it was just one of those moments, and it's one of my favorite pictures. Or how she might get embarrassed if something happened. She, don't, I gotta have, She liked being proper, very proper. You got that from her mom, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And doing
And her
things the
dad,
right way.
the two of them were
Yeah, very
really
proper. Yeah,
Very, very adults.
yeah, and,
I've never had that problem of being an adult. So.
but yeah. So we got that from her.
Well,
Doing things the right way.
then you said that both of them were Blair Gallery or just your mom?
Both.
They both went on the trip.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the fire
We have a
engine and
whole-
all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Okay.
took it over. Yeah. They were a
Okay.
part of that.
They were part of that?
We have pictures. I have lots of pictures from that trip.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole binder of papers and pictures and the travel notes and things.
Mom took pictures of every trip we ever went on. She would make scrapbooks, like a trip to
And
Hawaii.
he has to be the curator of pictures for the family.
Yes, that's right. And like when we went to Kona.
Like every time you went to Kona, she'd make a new scrapbook.
Yeah.
There's one that's like this thick from just one trip. And we have all these pictures, and a lot of them she ID'd one by one by one by one.
On the back.
She would ID who they were, what time it was. Like the band trip.
Yeah, there's a stack of photos this hall of the 1971 Amador High Band trip. We went to Canada,
Okay.
to New Westminster and the Portland Rose Parade, and it was a great trip. I got in trouble that trip.
That's a side story.
That's an aside.
But about the pictures.
But those pictures, we just happened to be going through them
That
today and
fit.
yesterday, and everyone has every band member
Everybody's
written
name
on the
on
back.
the back.
There are pictures of Teddy Theodore when he's
In high school,
16, 17.
he would have been a senior.
Yeah,
That year.
18
Yeah.
in that trip.
So, because they were band parents as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But
And
she had-
chaperones.
And there were only 3 pictures of this big stack with me in it.
Well, there's more than that. I found some more.
Oh, just because I'm in the background, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but they chaperoned all these events. All the band events. And then when they were at Sunnyvale High School, my dad we'd chaperone their band trip. We went to the Rose Bowl with the band. My mom was there with my dad. We went to the Orange Bowl in Florida. We all went that. We went as photographers and we chaperoned the
Yeah,
bands.
we would take candids, and my dad would do the formal pictures of the band.
Yeah,
So
mom was
you guys were just, I mean, it was always, as much as it could, always family to
Always
It was called
everybody.
4 Lanes
Oh.
to Travel.
Yeah, 4 lanes
And
to travel.
They kept it up all these years.
That was the name of her column.
Yeah.
And it was... you-
Well, and I believe at your mother's memorial, I believe that some of the guys there said that they'd even call them mom and pop lane or something.
Mom Lane.
Bud Thornton,
Yeah.
Steve Bailey, Ron Glom.
Yeah, friends of mine
That
that we've been
Most
friends.
of Tommy and the Four Speeds band.
Yeah,
We're all high school friends. We met a lot of it. Well, some of those guys I met when we were freshmen,
Yeah.
and because especially if they'd come from Dublin. But well, we've been friends since then.
yeah.
Yeah, and my mom, and of course my mom knew them, and so
Yeah.
we all grew up together.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends took my mom as a confidant, because growing up and the trauma and the stress of being a teenager, for example, and my mom was very welcoming. She would invite my friends over, or they would just show up, just walk in and say, "I need to talk," and my mom would just sit there and listen and just be a counselor. And she was very good at that because she was trusted by my friends, and just like one of us.
Yeah.
And when I played softball in the '70s, in our team,
The Trinity Church
yeah,
Dodgers.
my parents, my mom, they always went to the games. They were always there, and then we'd go to a pizza parlor downtown, and they'd come along, and it was all right
Was
to
that
hang out
in
with
90s?
us. Either that or one down on Hop Yard.
Oh, yeah. that other one.
And they were always welcome with the group.
You didn't ever resent that these kids came over to talk to your parents?
No, not
instead
at
of
all.
That? Well,
Because
that's good.
they, we could talk to them too.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would.
But I mean, sometimes, hey, these are my parents,
No,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't a problem at all. They were probably more forthcoming with mom than I would have been, because it was my mom, and we can't tell her everything.
No.
But but they would.
Well, Mom did make it difficult for me to break up with my high school girlfriend, though.
Oh.
Because my high school girlfriend was friends with my mom.
So what happened?
It just was uncomfortable.
Is that weird?
We'll leave it at that.
So she would talk to your mom about you guys and,
Oh, I'm sure they.
yeah.
Yeah. Girl.
Yeah. And,
Yeah, she had her opinions about my girlfriends, but then the bottom line was, we trust your judgment, and if you're going to make mistakes, you made them, and you learn from them, and you grow from it. But she trusted our judgment, and for the most part, we knew that we better be right, or
They
we
gave
better
us
be
a lot.
good.
They
about
gave us a
this.
lot of freedom.
A lot of freedom.
and we didn't hang ourselves too many times.
Yeah, like sometimes, like in high school, when I was out with the guys on a weekend night, we might be drinking beer. We were 16, 17 years old. And they knew it, but Pleasanton was such a small town, and they knew what was going on. I even had beer in my room. I stashed it, and they knew it was there. But we just had to be careful, and we had to know our limits. And they were trusting in that way, and we didn't screw up, or we didn't get busted, and we were good about it. My dad always said, if you want to drink at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me that as well.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
that didn't always happen. But we were careful. We got away with a few things.
It made
Well,
marching
because you were
halftime-
kids
It
and-
made marching halftime shows more interesting.
I didn't do that.
Oh, after
That was
drinking?
you. I didn't do that. No.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, because we were, halftime, like for Amador, Amador halftime show.
Yeah. We did every home game.
During the football game, though, we were on the sidelines helping the team out as student equipment helpers, and helping the team and getting things ready.
Band members did?
Yeah, and I was in the band,
Oh.
and I would have my uniform on the bench, and I would change in my uniform quickly at halftime. One of my friends would bring my drum down from up because of the pep band,
Yeah.
and I'd strap it on. We'd go out march halftime. He'd take my drum back up there. I'd take my uniform back off.
And then, yeah.
Because we used to help out with the football team.
Yeah, yeah.
Don did a lot.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed those days.
I did for a year because when I went to high school, I was told I couldn't play sports because I'd crushed my foot. So I learned.
Because you'd crush your foot?
I crushed my foot when I was a Boy Scout.
Oh,
I had-
Yosemite on a bike.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a huge. Deal.
Almost died. But it's yeah. So
But you
so
did.
so I learned to do student training, taping ankles and shoulders and knees and things. So I did that for a year for the football team,
Yeah.
and then Jerry Whiffley and I had a falling out, so I didn't do that anymore.
was he the coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was no, not those
he was
years.
the athletic
That was
director.
Fred. Yeah,
Oh.
Fred Wood was
Yeah.
a football coach my junior senior year. Yeah, Wilfley was before that.
Yeah.
But he was athletic director, and he was pretty.
He didn't like
hard
me.
ass. Yeah.
So I went over and helped the soccer team for a year. Then I just played soccer.
Yeah, and you lettered.
Yeah, I led her a couple
Yeah.
years in soccer.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, I was in the band 4 years. I played freshman football, realized that this body is not a football player. So then the cross-country coach, Tom Lineville, lived across the street and recruited me for cross-country, so I became a runner.
Tom Lineville lived in the house that our grandparents had
Yeah,
lived
he
in.
had it
Oh.
next. And he had a Volkswagen bus and a big German Shepherd named Bernie. But
There's
anyway,
a
yeah.
German Shepherd lives in that house now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there's this thing of vote for your
Maybe it's
favorite.
a relative.
Could be.
I put his name up on that thing, vote for your favorite coach. I put Lineville cross-country up there.
Well, wasn't Cyril Bonanno also, Cyril Bonanno also a cross-country coach or a?
Don't know.
Not in my,
Oh, you
when I
don't
was
know
there.
that name?
Not when
Okay.
I was there.
Okay.
No.
Maybe it was later.
After 70.
Yeah.
I don't remember that name. Lineville was coach. Yeah, when I was there. Pain is good for you.
He eventually moved, I think, to a junior college at Lake Tahoe, somewhere up in the mountains.
Yeah, and he might have gone to Marin for a while at
Oh, he
one
did?
time too.
Okay.
Yeah, but up there, yeah, he worked his way up. He was good.
So besides your parents,
Oh, you want to talk about our parents?
no, besides your parents, they were a big influence on you. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and,
They-
and on a lot of kids in the community.
They set the borders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else would you say, as you were growing up, would you look back now and say made a big impression on you?
As a teacher or a parent.
Whatever. Anybody else that you
There was
would?
one teacher at Amador that was probably the first teacher I met, because I played freshman football. We had him as a coach. I was Roger Dabney. And he was also my English teacher, and he was a coach and PE teacher, and I always admired him. I always looked up to him.
He ended up as
I thought-
principal at Dublin High.
Yeah, I thought of him a little bit like my dad, because he taught English.
Okay,
Yeah, and so he was an influence on me.
okay,
Yeah, I was very sad to see that he passed many years ago.
okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else in town that was,
One for me was Tom Simons. He was a soccer coach. He taught at the continuation school here.
Okay.
He lived in Livermore. Oh my God! But no, he was very good with kids, and
Okay.
Yeah.
was very supportive. He told Jerry Wilfley not to take me off the bus going to a soccer game, away game.
Yeah, at one time.
My hair was about this long,
Yeah,
and I got in
at one
trouble
time,
for it.
And it was too
hair,
long.
yeah.
Oh.
Even
That's
though
why
it
he
was-
wouldn't let me out. He wasn't going to let me play in the soccer game because of it.
Yeah, and in
And the
California-
coach said, "Tom, just go to the back of the bus. I'll talk to him."
Okay. Because they had rules about how long your hair could be.
Yeah, it was very militaristic at the time.
Yeah, girls couldn't even, they had to wear dresses when I was there until I think my senior year, then they could start wearing pants to school. Things
Yeah.
were very conservative.
Yeah.
And even
Could you
though
wear
it was the
shorts?
60s. No,
Okay.
no, we never wore shorts.
I wouldn't have worn them anymore. I don't remember shorts.
No. Yeah, you know, the Bay
But
Area was
hair
so
was a
liberal
big
in those
thing
days.
and-
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
For him.
And they can control you with sports. I mean, if you want to play sports, you've got to
But
kowtow.
because our coach taught at the continuation school, not at Amador,
He was,
he didn't have to listen. And he understood, because of the kind of population he taught, that this is not a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just
So I learned a lot from him
Oh,
for tolerance and differences and acceptance.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So do you want to show some of the awards? We can turn the
Can you just,
camera around and just, yeah.
can you move? Mom got awards for,
Okay,
because she did.
are you ready to start?
I never like repeating myself. So this is a letter from Chan Henderson, the band director for Pleasanton Elementary School, which doesn't exist anymore. But my parents were band parents club and president, very active. And it was a good band. We marched in a lot of parades, but parents were always very active in supporting and making those groups that we happened to join even better. And Chan Henderson's elementary school band, in my opinion, is what made amateur high school bands so good, because everybody was already able to march and play their instrument. And so Jim Campana at the high school just had to teach us marching formations.
Yeah, because we could already play.
And so my parents supported the amateur band on trips, and then after that, they also supported the Foothill High School band. They were just very active, helping kids. My mom has been active ever since college. This is the gavel of Beta Sigma Phi Pi Omicron, sorority from College of the Pacific. So she even, was leading a group when she was there. She was on the Human Services Commission and was part of the group that got the assisted living home here in Pleasanton, just a few blocks over. We can go on and on. These are the two books that my mom and dad wrote, one for the Valley and one for the Fair. Don, do you want to point one out? Boy, committee members in the city.
Well, here's another band parents president award for mom. All these are usually certificates of appreciation from different groups and the bands and the recruiting office.
These are recognition from the state of California for their Friends of Education. When my parents were the Community Patriot Award, adult education they did.
The Ed Finney Community Patriot Award.
Yeah,
To Bob and Pat Lane. And then the board of directors for the Museum on Main, where we stand right now.
right here.
Yeah, 1985 to 2018.
Yeah, and
33 years.
during that time, they were also very supportive of the livestock auction.
Every year.
Bought a lamb, usually a lamb every year. Sometimes they might get part of a cow or
We love pigs.
a pig. Yeah. This is a biography she wrote of herself, which I want to work on.
Let's keep that.
All of these things are from when Pleasanton donated the fire truck to Blair Gallery, and my parents got this plaque for being the bronze donor, sister city
Picture
organization.
of the truck and the plaque.
They also were involved in the sister city with
Tulancingo.
half an hour on Tulancingo.
Yeah.
4-H support, Friends of Education. I think it's just by the sheer number of things here, you can see how active she was in all kinds of groups and very supportive in trying to make everything work and work better. And she definitely was a supporter of celebrating Pleasanton.
That's a blanket from the Centennial. 100 years.
Can you come around so I can see that? I can't see you guys back there.
That's All right, that was by design. I'll hide. But there's also all the T-shirts from all the different Pleasanton events here, all the coffee cups.
Magnets.
But we haven't really talked about, they were also very active in politics, with supporting the always Republican candidates. They were also collected things for the KQED auction early on
Yes.
from the valley.
Yeah, we used to go over there, and my mom and dad and us, we would go over to the auction, volunteer and help, back when they had auctions, back in the 60s.
Yeah, at the Palace of Fine
Try and
Arts.
raise money for the station. So that was another one of our interests.
Oh, what's this award? Friends of Education, '08. Anyway,
But all of this,
there we go.
Human Services Commission, yeah, that was her plaque for the, when she was.
Oh, yeah, I heard, what's the name of the assisted living facility that's right here?
I want to cross some Rayleighs over there.
Yeah,
She helped make that happen.
yeah, she's, her name's on the plaque over
Her
there.
name's on the plaque inside the door.
Yeah. What's this one? Oh, it's more Human Services Commission. Oh, yeah, the assisted living facility. There's the mayor's award for being on that committee. Oh, here's a drawing of General Pleasanton that she got.
With an O, no, no, Pleasanton.
Yeah.
Back when it was spelled like that.
Community Development Award. What's that one? Chamber of Commerce Community Development Award for distinguished service to the community. Oh, man.
There's a lot
So do you have any questions on any of these or any leading questions for us?
No, just that your mom and dad got an amazing amount of awards and,
This is just what happened to run across yesterday.
well
They're
deserved
maybe
for
more.
all that they did.
Yeah, they
Yes.
were just part of the community. They,
Yes.
always active, always helping out, always being part of things.
Oh, the Bob Group.
Yeah, the power group.
It's a very social group.
Juanita's in there.
Yeah, Juanita Haugen.
She was part of
Right.
that
She's
group.
one of that very famous people from Amador up on the wall in there.
Yeah, so the Bob group was quite,
Go in there if you're going to talk to them.
the Bob group was quite interesting.
Not there, you have to go on the other side.
Okay,
You get to be over with me. Yeah, Mom and Juanita were like the best friends.
Yeah, but
They still tried to channel each other after Juanita passed.
I mean, this group is, there's a mayor or ex-mayor, there's a
City director.
city,
yes.
what's his title?
Well, Bob, I found out that he was
Yeah.
very involved with putting
Public
Hacienda
Works.
Business Park, the
Right.
public works stuff, that he
Yeah, yeah.
really worked hard on that
Yeah, he
as a
was-
city.
Yeah, he was the head of Public
Yeah.
Works.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and with Juanita, this is an important group of people.
Yes.
They were all just friends. Yeah,
And
they,
they-
were all-
and they partied together
They
all the time.
partied hardy.
All the time.
but
I have so
I'm
many
sure
pictures.
many ideas came out of that group.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of work in Pleasanton.
Yeah,
Who's this?
I thought it might be Chan, but I don't think
No,
so.
no, no.
It's not Chan.
No,
It just
no, no.
had that kind of look about it.
He's
It's not
younger
Chan.
than Chan.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I can't read his name tag. I mean, she was getting a walk through Pleasanton circa, he must have written this book or something.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see that.
anyway, I know that you're going to donate a lot of these things to the museum, and on behalf of that, we're very, very thankful, and
Sure.
that you could share these wonderful stories about who they were as people as well, you know? Yeah.
And side stories which might illustrate.
Yes, who they were, yes.
Yeah,
So,
if without the way they raised us, we could not be who we are
yes,
and digress so much.
yeah.
And then at one point I brought matchbooks down and Ken got excited.
Okay.
So anything that had Pleasanton on it, these
and there'll be events downtown.
A lot of these bumper stickers, she just saved them over the years.
It was only bad.